So many things have to happen for a racing game to really stand out. It has to have advanced, polished driving mechanics, car customization with oodles of depth, uber engaging tracks, and so much more. Need for Speed has proven time and time again that it is a phenomenal gaming franchise with exceptional titles, even with some missteps along the way. Hey there everyone, and welcome to Game Rant. My name is Geoffrey. In today's video, let's look at 10 of the very best Need for Speed games of all time to see which ones crossed the finish line in first place. Number 10, Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2010. This stunning open-world racing game pits players against the police or outlaw drivers. Need for Speed Hot Pursuit was the first game that allowed players to be behind the wheel of a police car. It contains a story mode for the most wanted driver and a policeman. From the makers of the Burnout series, Need for Speed Hot Pursuit is a ton of fun. This 2010 game stood out when it released. Its driving mechanics and exotic vehicles are extraordinary. Future Need for Speed games should take inspiration from Need for Speed Hot Pursuit. Number 9, Need for Speed Most Wanted 2012. Set in an open world, 2012's Need for Speed Most Wanted aimed to please longtime fans by bringing back the plus points of the original and combining it with elements from other games. More than anything else, exploring the city is the main selling point. The one negative point is the lack of appeal in single-player modes, as there just isn't much quality in the races here. The game does its best job in pushing the boundary of multiplayer racing, with competitions carrying the sense of thrill that fans love. Number 8, Need for Speed 2015. As one of the most anticipated Need for Speed games to be released, Need for Speed 2015 brought back the underground feel but added updated graphics and a more immersive open world. However, it failed to deliver on many of Need for Speed's most renowned qualities, such as car customization and race variation. The game didn't also contain drag races like it should have. The concepts should have worked, but the execution was somewhat poor. Despite its major flaws, Need for Speed 2015 still managed to be one of the best games of the Need for Speed franchise with all of its other excellent qualities. Number 7, Need for Speed Unbound. Need for Speed Unbound decided to switch up the Need for Speed formula in a major way. The biggest way they did this is by switching up the art style, opting for a cel-shaded look with stylistic visuals. These changes made the racing action look quite different and unique from the other titles in the series, which were blending into each other from a somewhat visual standpoint. Of course, Unbound also had its fair share of issues, with the progression of the game crawling at a snail's pace at times. Unless players were happy with getting whatever car they saw fit instead of targeting a specific vehicle, they wouldn't have to deal with the repetition in this game all that much. Despite having some missteps, Unbound is still a step in the right direction for the series, and a game that is promising for Need for Speed fans who wanted the franchise to shake things up in a palpable manner. Number 6, Need for Speed Shift. It was with this entry that the series completely dove into the simulation aspect of things, a far cry from the traditional Need for Speed games. Need for Speed Shift is akin to games like Gran Turismo and Forza, in that learning how to drive is the heart of the matter, and excelling here is the key to victory. It has no story, which can be a turn-off for longtime fans, but the shift towards simulation means a level of originality can be found in this game. Highly detailed cars and points of view are perfect for fans to get their racing dreams on. Number 5, Need for Speed Underground. It wouldn't be out of the question to place Need for Speed Underground higher on this list, given the amount of customization. It laid the foundation for the other Underground and subsequent Need for Speed games. Need for Speed Underground proved that even a Dodge Neon or Honda Civic could be turned into a race car. The game released on consoles such as the PlayStation 2, Xbox, and PC. Need for Speed Underground's drag races and time attacks were a lot of fun, and the game released around that time when the Fast and the Furious was popular, so the underground car scene was certainly trendy. Number 4, Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2. The Need for Speed Hot Pursuit game series contains a couple of Need for Speed's most recognizable games. Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2 came back with improved gameplay, better open-world environments, and some of the finest exotic vehicles of all time. The game even allows players to go off-road, which is something that was rarely seen in video games when it released. When players think of Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2, they can easily compare it to games like Forza Horizon. Unfortunately, the series has taken a downturn since this game's original release. Number 3, Need for Speed Most Wanted 2005. Need for Speed Most Wanted is a masterpiece driving game. It avoided the trend of bad reboots. The fact that almost anyone could jump into the game made it appealing. It took after the Need for Speed Underground franchise, but also differentiated itself with unique racetracks and top-notch driving mechanics. Heck, it even won the VGX award for Best Driving Game that year. This is one Need for Speed game that fans can't miss. Number 2, Need for Speed Shift 2 Unleashed. The career mode of Need for Speed Shift 2 Unleashed is its highlights. Its race features a wide range of tracks against top-tier drivers. Need for Speed Shift 2 Unleashed is a huge improvement over its predecessor. As a game that released in 2011, the graphics don't look all that dated. According to EA.com, Shift 2 Unleashed redefines the racing simulator genre by delivering authentic and true-to-life dynamic crash physics, plus insanely detailed real-world cars, drivers, and tracks. Simply put, we couldn't agree more. Number 1, Need for Speed Underground 2. Sure, the soundtrack could have had more variety since, listening to the same songs playing over and over was frustrating. However, Need for Speed Underground 2 had enough car variety and customization to make the game stand out on that alone. The career mode is the high point of Need for Speed Underground 2, but the online and local multiplayer weren't bad either. The game has the most customization of any game in the series, and it's why it's considered the best Need for Speed game of all time. And there we have it, the 10 very best Need for Speed games of all time. Thank you so much for watching this video. Have a truly wonderful and happy day. We'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.